train on business data analytic and advanced Excel. So we have the function which most of the accountants, they have never realized the usefulness of these functions. And this function, we have the first one called the eDate. We have the function called the eDate. We have today function. We also have the week num function. And we have another one called the network days. That is a function also. And then we have another function called the EFRAC. We have another function called the EFRAC. So as an accountant or as a finance officer or any person dealing with the data analysis, at given point, you need to understand how to use these formulas. You need to understand how to use these formulas. For example, the first one, eDate. So assuming that you are doing a model, of the financial statement where you have been given the revenue, the cost of sales, the gross profit, the operating expense, all the way to the operating EBIT, which I know you have done this as an accountant. But now you want your Excel so that it can automate, so that you don't want to be typing here January 20, 2025. Going the way, yes. So kindly, if you are in a noisy place, you can mute so that we can't be able to to hear. So you can mute. So I was saying that if you are doing a model for these years, you don't need to be typing each and every time. So you need to automate to Excel. For example, I will click a formula, eDate. So I will use my eDate, and then it will ask me the start date. So the start date is this one, and then comma, it will ask you the month. So if you put 1 or 2, then it will give you the month you want. So for example, let's put 1 and then close the bracket. Type enter. You can see this one will give you Feb 2024. Feb 2024. And if you have been in my class of Advanced Excel, you have learned the shortcut keys. How can we copy this formula across? Anyone with idea? We have so many ways. You can copy this, Control C, and then you select from E to I, and then click Control at V, and then paste the formula, and then click OK. You will be able to get data in that manner. You can see this is March 2024, April 2024. So if you don't want to use that long method of control or keying in Control at V, undo, you can just select this line and click Control R. If you type Control R, you will be able to paste your formula across. So that is the one of the formula I wanted to share today before you go for your lunch. And another one is you go to the today function. You want to see how we can apply today function. Still, this one you can change to use if you want to use it annually. If you want to use it annually, you can still use it by typing 2 and then click enter. You can see this one will change in an annual basis. So it is something that is very important. It keeps on changing depending with how you apply it. That's why I do recommend, if you are working in any department dealing with the finance, Advanced Excel is the key. That was the first function we have done with that. If you have any questions, just comment on that comment section. We go to the second part, which we want to see how to use today function. I know most of you you normally type the date. If I want to know today, I just key in here equals today, and I will know when is today. Click enter. So today is 1st of what? October. So it is 1st of October. So that's how we use the today function. That's how we use today function. Now, you are working in a procurement department where you deal with the imports. You are importing the goods from China to Kenya, and then the boss will be asking you, how many days will it take for this product to be shipped? Or you will be you monitor the shipment of the item from the abroad, especially if you are in a manufacturing company or you are in a service industry where they import goods into the country. So you will be calculating the shipment date. So I have a few products here, which we have the name and we have the shipping date. This shifting date, we need to know the date to ship. So what do? I will just need to say equals the date itself, that minus today date, minus today amaleo. So to subtract today date, enter. It will ask me to accept. Let close the bracket, enter. So that one, it takes 27 days to start to ship. So it will take 27 days to start to ship because we have subtracted today. So you count from 28 days, which means from date 1 to 28 days, but subtract today. So it means it will take 27 days for this product to start to be shipped from China or any country. So once you have done that, you don't need to repeat yourself. You don't need to repeat yourself. You double click this part and it will copy the formula downward. It will copy the formula downward. That is the second formula I wanted to share today. That is the second formula I wanted to share today. So make sure that you are learning this Excel on a daily basis. And also we do have the classes, which we one of it is starting today from 8 p.m., which we run a full course of advanced Excel, which include the data analysis, the data financial modeling, and all that. Now, so that is the days to ship. It will take that time. Now, like you want to know the number of weeks from January to date. How do you calculate the number of weeks from January to date? We use the formula called the week num. The week num. So you don't need to go to your calendar, starting counting the number of weeks from January to date. No, we use the formula called the week date, the week num. So if you put your formula here, if you put your formula here equals to week num, and then it will ask you for the serial number. It will ask you for the serial number. The serial number is your today date, which is this one. And then you close that one, it will give you 40 weeks. So if you open this Excel tomorrow, it will read tomorrow date because our formula here is today. So it will keep on updating depending on the date you open it. So that is the third Excel. We can see we will even use 10 minutes. So it is better use less hours. Now, we have another formula called the net work days. The net work days. I know this one, it sounds now good for you people because you are paying people. I know most of you are started paying people last week. Others are still calculating the payroll. And in every organization, we do have the casuals, which they work on a number of days. You do have the casual or the people, other organizations pay on a pro rata basis. So you need to know how to be using these week numbers, network days. So let's look at the second scenario, the third scenario. So this scenario now, we have known how to calculate the number of days to ship. And then this number of days to ship, remember these 27 days, it has public holidays, it has the weekends. You want now to exclude the weekends, that is Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to exclude the weekends, without putting any holidays. We don't want to consider any holiday. Then we bring in a new formula called the net work days. The net work days. So this formula we use to calculate the number of days in a month, excluding weekends. Excluding weekends. So make sure you need to note that, excluding weekend. So here I will say equals, and then net work days, and then it will ask you a start date. Start date, we introduce the today date. I will write today. Remember, if you have been in my class again for advanced Excel, we said if you combined more than two functions in one cells, we call it the nested function. We call it the nested function. So I will close the bracket and then put the enter function. It will ask me for the end date. It will ask me for the end date. So our end date is the shipping date. So our end date is the shipping date. And then you click, you don't need to close the bracket, you just click enter, and then to accept this. So you can see your net work days is 20 days. If you have an holiday, here, then you can put it here. If you have an holiday here, you can put an holiday here, assuming that we have an holiday on the date 18. We have an holiday on the date 18. So I will come and change my formula here. After that, I put enter and it will ask me for the holidays. So maybe I have one holiday in that month, and then I will select that holiday, put enter. You can see now it will subtract that 1 day. So it will be 19 days. So once you have done that, you double click your formula downward, and you can see the reason is why is it that this one is 20, this one is 20. You can see my formula here, it is referring to H. But if you come to the second one, it is referring to a blank space. And I do remind you also that if you have been in advanced class Excel, we have learned something called absolute reference, and relative reference, which you need to use so that you don't find your Excel here. You can see that one is giving us an error because it is referring to an empty space. So you have to reference your formula here by making sure that this holiday is stationed. So if you want to make this holiday to be stationed, guys, we locked this H8. So how do we lock this H8? How do we lock this H8? Anyone with idea? We use what is called a dollar sign. And we have different keyboards. There's keyboards which you need to press. You need to press FN plus F4 for you to give you a dollar sign. There's others which you can just press and you can get that dollar sign. So for me, it does FN. So I have to put my cursor here, press F4, and then you can see that one is a dollar sign. So that means that holiday is constant. So if I copy my formula downward, I will be able to get these values. And you can see it's referring to that holiday. It's referring to that holiday date. So that's how we use the network days. And this one is so important when calculating the payroll or when paying the casuals. So you need to know how to be using this formula. Another one is how to calculate H. This Excel formula, remember we do learn this Excel formula, note that you must apply in a specific area. It can in every scenario. A good example, if you are working in a manufacturing company, those people from Kenya Priorities and Statistics, they normally come and ask you for ascertained data, like even for 3 months, 4 months. So if you don't understand this Excel, it will take you several weeks. It will give you stress, sorting things, but you are not getting data, copy pasting, but you are not getting it. So you need to learn Excel so that you can be able to get this thing in few minutes. So assuming that the Kenya Priorities, they are coming into your office, they will ask you, give us the list of employees you have in the past 3 months and also in the 3 months. So like in quarters, they will give you 1 year in quarters. Give us the number of employees and their age. So assuming you are working in a company with 50 employees, how will you get their age? Typing, this is 25 years, this is 65 years. So it's so hectic. So if you have that data and you know how to calculate it in Excel, then it will be very simple. Me, most of the time I use Excel to answer those scenarios, questions, or those reports. So a good example here, we have our few staffs here, which we have the staff ID, the name, the division, and the DOP, which is the date of birth. But our interested is not the department and the name, but the age. So how do we calculate the number of age in Excel, given that we have the date of birth? So it's very, very simple. There is a formula called dated if. You will not find this formula if you type in Excel. If you say equals dated if, this formula will not pop up. You can see the only formula we can get is date value, and key date. So you will not get this value. So if you have not learned it, then you will not know there is a formula called dated if. It's like the X lookup, the V lookup, the sum V lookup. We also have what is called the dated if. So I will come here and say equals dated if, close the bracket, you can see imekuja hapo. So dated if, utasema dated if, that is the date of part, comma, you put today date, and then close the bracket, comma. Again, I ask you, which text function do you know? I have taught so many people about the text function, but they don't know how to apply this text function. So we apply text function in so many ways. Now, when you want to extract the years in a text function, we use y to represent years. So I will put the opening quotation and then write y. So y, that is a text function which will extract the years, and then close with the opening quotation, so not that one, and then close the bracket, click enter. So you will get this person as 27 years. And then you double click, you will copy downward. So from that 1st January 1997 up to date today, that person has 27 years. You can go and confirm that. So that is, I think that's what I wanted to share. So we have so many functions when it comes to the data analysis. And it looks so simple, but you will be given some of the data and you will struggle reading this data manually. So it will take a lot of time, instead of using Excel formula and focus on something which is constructive. So that, unless there is any question from our members, because I don't want to take much of your time. I know you want to go to lunch and go back to work. So that's what I wanted to share today. And today we have an advanced Excel class, which it is starting today, and we only charge 4,000. So if you are willing to learn the advanced Excel, the financial modeling, you can just reach me on 0717 61 8798. So you will learn all the advanced Excel function. Also, you will get the videos and also the templates. We also do develop the payroll templates. Remember, we are changing now from NHIF to Shiva or to SHA. So, and remember NHIF, we have been using another scale rate. Now we are getting a new scale rate, which you people should have. You need to start out updating your payroll. You need to start updating your payroll so that they can reflect the tax bracket of this SHA. And we all use Excel to develop this function. We use Excel to develop this function. You don't need to register. Okay, so my contact is 0717 61 8798. CPA Rono 98. So 0717 61 8798. So you don't need to register a lot of website or software to calculate the payroll. We have Excel. So if you learn what is called the XLOOKUP, you learn something called the SUMIF function. We learn another function called the SUMIF functions with S. You learn if functions, if function. Then you learn another function called the filter function. Then you don't need to have any accounting software for payroll. So if you master this Excel formula, and there are the other one to which they come in, but they are not the major one. So if you learn this Excel, believe me, you guys, that you will be able to be working within a minimum time, Me, you don't find me using calculator in my office doing all these things. No. So even if I don't even need to use Excel, I make sure that at least I'm using an Excel function so that I can perfect. But if you are such a kind of a person to which you normally like typing, like a good example, if it is for you to like give me this one, how can we get this one in form of months? So in your mind, you should be able to know which type of Excel function can give me the months in this kind of date of birth. So you can use the text function. The text function, which is, let's try to see if the text function here will apply. The text function, the value, which is this one, and then comma, you need month. M stands for a month. So we need 3 months, or it depends with if you want full month, then you can use 4M. So take opening M, close the bracket, and then enter. So you can see this one is January. If you want full month, you can put another M. This one will give you a full January, and then copy paste. You will get January, March, February, August, March. So another person angeandika tu, oh, hii ni January, wacha niandike January. Hii ni hata ajui hii iko format gani, but Excel can do that for you. So don't use a lot of energy typing this thing, and Excel can do it for you. If it is years, you just, if it is date, if we want to know it was 1997 ilikuwa Wednesday ama ilikuwa Monday, ilikuwa nini, you just need to change year date, DD, and we can see this one, it was Wednesday, and we can drag it, we can get this one, it was Friday, Sunday. So you can check with your calendars and see whether it is true. So I think I can stop there. If you have any questions, you can just reach me out there. I've given out my number, this one, and I can help you if you have any assignment which is pending and you would like to use Excel to solve that problem. So thank you guys, and I wish you all the best.